Welcome into the Clear as Mud podcast. I'm your host, Riveter. I'm joined today with the very handsome E-boy, Mr. Fuckboy, Banana Riv.
Yeah, right. What's going on?
So anyway,
Killing
there's something we got to deal with right off the very bat before we get into today's show. A good friend of ours, a good friend of the show, and a good friend outside of the show, Diva, shared a video on her, or put up a video on her YouTube channel the other day. I think maybe it was, what is today, Sunday? So I think it was Saturday. And anyway, she shared with everyone some things that she's kind of going through. And anyway, whenever I have a friend that's going through things, I personally always kind of struggle on what can I do besides, listen, offer encouragement, and that's a lot of times that's really all I can do, right? There's nothing else for me to do,
right.
And as we have moved to a society that has friendships that exist outside of real life, face-to-face type friendships, and we have online friendships, you can't even give them a hug, you can't offer them a shoulder to cry on, if you will, right? And, but in this situation, I decided, with her permission, I started a GoFundMe, because she's in a situation that is not healthy for her, both mentally, and as everyone knows, if your head is not in the right place, right, then your physical body starts having issues as well.
Sure.
So anyway, she has got a place lined up. The only thing that is being prohibitive to her right now is monetary. It's a pure monetary thing. She needs help with just basic things like getting a bed, getting some cooking utensils, things like that. Just basic things that anybody who is setting out on their life needs. Now, so, when I set this, I set a goal of 5,000, and that's probably more than what she would actually need. But, I've never done one of these before, so I really didn't know where or what.
You haven't done what before?
I've never done a GoFundMe. I've never done anything fundraising like this. I've never done anything like this, right? So this is me kind of flying by the seat of my britches on this thing, right?
Sure.
And, so anyway, here's the thing. The link is pinned in chat. If you guys can donate, please do. Even if it's just a few bucks, $4 or $5, whatever, it doesn't matter.
Every little bit helps.
Every little bit helps. If
you're curious as to the situation that Diva is going through, you can go to her channel at The Phoenix Diva on YouTube, and she has a video posted where she's explaining what happened in her life recently, and why she's in the situation she is.
Yeah. If you can't donate, that's understandable too, because we're still, everybody, there's a lot of people are still dealing with the loss of wages and things like that because of the pandemic, and it's just I understand that, I get that, I totally get that. So what I would ask of you is, if you cannot donate, what I would ask is that you would share this GoFundMe to any and all social platforms that you're on. Now, this GoFundMe has already raised over $1,300, and I'll be honest with you. When I got up this morning and I was drinking my coffee and I went out there and I looked and seen how much was raised, I got a little emotional, because I just know that that's a big chunk of money that is going to really help her right now. And I know Diva is looking at this and checking it ever so often, what have you, and she has asked me to convey to you guys her appreciation, and from the bottom of my heart, I'm very very appreciative to everybody that's donated, and I know that I kind of have this reputation of being a grumpy ass old man and kind of a son of a bitch, and I am, but I also have a really big heart. I just don't let it out too often because um, over the years it just got stomped on too much. But Diva is a friend of mine. I would do anything underneath the sun for her that I could. So again, I just wanted to boost this with as much as I possibly can.
Absolutely.
If you haven't seen it, and if you can donate, it would be much appreciated. If you can't, once again, just share it. Um, get it in front of as many eyes as we possibly can. And to all those that have donated, to all those that have shared it, from the bottom of my little southern heart, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. I don't really know how to transition into this now from that, but
That's okay.
we're going to get into the show, and we're going to cover this. Here's the thing about it, and this is what's funny. Okay, to me anyway, Banana. This is what's funny.
What's funny?
You and I, we started this podcast at this point. It's been a little over a year ago, right? A year,
Just
and a few
about.
months. Yeah. And it seems like when we started this podcast, the only things that we ever had, seems like the only kind of dramas that were really coming up that covering stuff was always some sort of allegations that involve some sort of assault, be it physical, sexual,
Oh
that type of
God.
stuff. And we're like, hey, we just made it. We're not covering that shit. We're not doing it. We're not covering it unless they've done it the right way and went to law enforcement and there's a criminal investigation and there's police reports and there's whatever, that type of stuff that can be sourced and referenced to say this is it's not just somebody making an accusation and made a YouTube video or a Twitter video or whatever, right? That's just okay.
Right.
And I've said to you, I know countless times, man, I would give anything if we could have just some good old type stuff from the 2016, 17 era, 15 era of YouTube, right? What a lot of people in the commentary community call the golden age of YouTube, right? Because this was a day when it was silly dramas, it was this, it was that, right? And it was just lots of laughs, lots of goofs, lots of yucks, and there was nothing that was really serious, right?
Well, there were some, but I get what you're saying. Yeah, during the time, it was serious to the people involved, but to onlookers, it was like, this is ridiculous.
Exactly.
Stupid.
Sure. Yeah. When you're in the storm and the seas and stuff are raging around you, and your ship is sinking, and you're sitting with your damn bucket of water, and you're bailing that son of a bitch as fast as you can.
Right.
You're sitting there going, "Holy shit!" Right? What can I do here? Right?
Right. Well, the thing is like, people like you and me would be invested in the petty drama of YouTube, psychopaths, and then we wouldn't ever tell anyone about it because the second they saw it, be like, "You seriously watch that?" And it's like, "Oh, okay, yeah, I do watch that. I guess I'm no better, right?"
Yeah.
So.
Exactly. And here's the thing too, right? Here, as I was, when I found that type of stuff and started watching whatever, because to me, this is nothing more than what we used to call here in the South. We'd call this um, uh, clothesline gossip, right, or backyard gossip, right? Where
airing dirty laundry, yeah.
You get in the backyard with your neighbor and you say, "Oh, did you see what Mrs. Such and Such or what such and such," and that type of stuff, right? And it was the same. It's the same type premise. It's the same type thing, except for it's just a wider net, right? Because it's the internet, right? It's just a wider net has been cast, right. And so we finally here's the thing about it. Now, at the root of this drama that we're going to be talking about is there are some serious allegations. And I don't want to make a light of that, right? Because there were some serious allegations that were made. However, as normal, as per, it seems to be the YouTube, opera, what's the word? Help me here. It's a Latin
Modus operandi.
modus operandi. Nobody went to
Yeah.
damn law enforcement. All we did was get on the damn Twitter and and shit, and make some tweets and twit-longers and shit when all this stuff originally happened, right? And there was YouTube videos that were made,
Oh,
yada
yeah.
yada yada, right? But
And
no
this
one
is
went.
months old drama too. This
Oh
one right
yeah,
here.
this is
For
old
what it's
old stuff.
nested in, what this
Well,
drama is.
well, it's actually it goes more than months. It goes back to years because the original stuff it goes back clear back to the days of when Zaptai was, and then you got, and then
Hot
all
wet
that,
soup.
all that stuff. Yeah. So I mean, this is
Yeah.
some things that goes back a few years ago, and then
I'm a friend of Ed.
yeah. So anyway,
Yeah.
and then you had some
Hey,
YouTubers
Zero
like,
Core, how are you today?
hey, Zero's in the house. Hey, you're not late, buddy. You're not late. You're just waiting for the tea to finish steeping. It's good.
Fashionably on time. Or
Exactly.
fashionably, yeah.
But anyway, so what happened is you had a YouTuber out there, Nicholas Diorio, that started digging into the story and kind of brought it back up to light, and he made a video that kind of put a different spin on the things and kind of whatever, in a way, kind of exonerated Zaptai and opened a door for, quote, a return, a redemption arc, so on and so forth.
Right. And those who don't know, Nicholas Diorio is the prodigy of Tommy C. Tommy C was connected to all those guys through the baited days. So and Tommy C went over the hot wet soup incident over and over again. He really hates Bionic Pig and Elvis the Alien.
Yeah.
Just for people who didn't know.
And don't forget his favorite,
Deodor Anthony?
No, the little British dude.
Oh, I'm Alex.
I'm Alex, yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, the whole thing, kind of, and this thing, we're not going to spend a lot of time on all that crap. If you want to do that, go to Nicholas's channel, whatever.
Oh, it's archived. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's hours of content. Yeah.
There's so much there to unearth and unbox that I don't have the energy nor the inclination to do it. Okay.
It would be like a 3 or 4 hour show.
Yeah. But anyway, so what happened was this cat named Technicals, who is a crossover from the Smash Brothers community. He decided to come up and to dip his toe into the commentary into the pool, and he started making video, whatever, and he was well received.
Well, even before that, he was making kind of videos that were they were in the vein of like Filthy Frank and some of those guys, the edgelord type of YouTube content. So it's clear he's a big fan of iDubbbz, and I'm guessing, because it's not a hard guess to make, his cadence is almost exactly the same.
Yeah.
And some of the way he talks and stuff like that. Yeah. That a big influence of his is iDubbbz. So.
Yeah, and that's fair. I mean, it could very well be. I mean, he could be. All of us have heroes and people we look up to, and
oh sure,
mine just isn't on YouTube unless you go out and find clips of movies that he made. But irrespective, he made some videos exposing some drama and stuff that had happened over in the Smash Brothers community, specifically in and around Sky Williams, and anyway, and he shed some new light on that because he was from that world, so he knew the players and stuff, and I believe that video for the most part was well received. I know that a lot of what is it they call them, the slander squad, I think is what the latest I can't say it. The latest makeup of group of guys that made videos like Tommy C.
Oh, Incarnation. Okay.
Incarnation, there we go.
I was struggling to find out what word.
Oh hell, listen, I'm having a damn Biden.
I'm telling you, I'm gonna buy you a thesaurus and dictionary for Christmas.
So anyway,
yeah.
So you got Tommy and Nicholas and Augie and Bo Black's Tipster and things like that. Those guys. He was well received by that group, right? He was kind of given a open arm welcome, pat on the back, hey, good job, yada yada yada. They were impressed. with his productions and his skits and things like that kind of help tell his story. His storytelling abilities and stuff were
Sure.
quite good. Video editing was quite good. Um,
Mm.
but anyway, he then decided to make a video on this cat named Zero. Now, I am not going to sit here and presume to tell you about that because honestly, I don't know and I don't care. That's the brunt of it. I just don't care.
Right.
You know, but this is where this all stems from, right? They got into a pissing match, and when I say I'm talking about technicals and Diorio,
Incestuous commentary community.
and ain't nobody wearing no condiments.
No, they're not wearing any ketchup or mustard or
No,
mayonnaise
they're
for
not,
them.
and hell, we're just spreading shit everywhere. So Nicholas Diorio and evidently Augustus Augie RFC,
Right.
and those guys, I guess, had took exception, right, uh,
Sure.
to some of the analogies and stuff that he drew, and they were like, no, 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 whatever. And here's what it really all boils down to, right?
What's that?
So Zaptai is somebody who now Zaptai, not to be confused with Turkey Tom, who uses the Twitter handle Zaptai.
Which I thought was Zaptai for the longest time, to be honest.
Sure. And that stands to reason, right?
Yeah. I was like, who's Turkey Tom? Is that just Zaptai under a new alias or something?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's because Turkey Tom kind of was doing that as a bit for I don't know, a long time. So
yeah, he was
before he cleared it up.
Yeah, he was trying exactly. So anyway, so they had a disagreement, right? And so they started kind of having a pissing match back and forth on Twitter and disagreements to the point where Augie and Technicals had I guess you would call it a debate. I'm not for sure exactly who was hosting this debate. I do know the people that you see on the debate is Technicals. I think I'm saying that right, Technicals.
Yeah.
I'll probably for the days over with, I'll call him Testicles a few times, but I don't mean that as any disrespect. It's just, it's too close. The word's too close to me. Augie and Keemstar. And there are excerpts of that debate in this video. Now, when you and I were discussing this video, and we watched it, and I've watched
the video being the commentary double standard. I don't think we ever mentioned.
Okay, yes, it's a video called the commentary double standard. Matter of fact, I'm gonna just.
And Technicals dropped it on the 28th, which was 2 days ago.
Yeah, he dropped it on 28th, which was on a Friday afternoon.
Yeah.
I've got a little segment here we're fixing to watch, but anyway, you and I were discussing this video offline.
Mm-hmm.
You've watched it, I think, multiple times. I've watched it multiple times, and
I watched it twice.
There's this now. Take consideration, guys. This thing is over 45 minutes long. There's so much in here. There's bits in it, and whatever else, and so within the confines or constraints that we try to do our podcast. We try to limit our podcast to about an hour to hour and a half max is what we usually try to do our podcast on. There's no way for us to sit here, watch this video, break it down segment by segment. So we're just not going to do that. We're going to try to hit the highlights, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, so we're going to get into this first segment here. This is where he's addressing this argument that was made in this. Okay, let me back up.
Yeah, first we have to talk. What's the double standard that he's proposing?
Okay.
Yeah.
So the double. Okay, what? Okay, you share your opinion. What do you think he's talking about, referring to when he says the double standard?
So the entire video is about a commentary double standard between a group of commentators who happen to who chose to back Zaptai in a way to say, hey, he messed up. He admitted to basically actions that you would consider somebody to be a pedophile for. I would say that because I don't know the whole situation intimately enough to make that, claim. But anyways, they basically said he admitted to his mistakes and there should be a road to redemption for him to come back to YouTube. But with Zero, which is the guy Technicals is backing, I guess he's friends with him, or he thinks he was unjustly pilloried on the space. They basically said no, he's not sorry for what he's did, and he shouldn't have a road back to YouTube. So he's saying the double standard is why give Zaptai the road to redemption and not Zero. And that also another point he puts in there too is that basically the P word is used way too much on YouTube. So, and I happen to agree with that as well.
Yeah, I think I do. I agree with that last statement too. As far as I'm concerned, here's, I guess let's just get to the nut cut and right off the and I'll give my opinion on this.
Sure.
And both the two main points of discussion that was up with this was the Zaptai situation and the Zero situation. Okay, both of these young men made some very poor life choices and engaged in some behavior that is not acceptable. Okay.
Oh, it's wrong. It's creepy and wrong and pretty gross. Yeah.
So here's the problem that I have with, and this is a question I would pose to the audience, and this is a question I'll pose to you, Banana.
Mm-hmm.
If a person is not charged with the crime, do you label them still that term? That term being the word pedophile.
I think it'd be good before I answer that question to make note of public denouncement and personal choice of how you can interact with somebody. So like personally, if somebody admitted to doing things like that, mm-hmm. and there's evidence of them doing those things, but they weren't convicted, I wouldn't spend any time around them whatsoever. I'd make a point to never interact with them. But publicly, you can't call them a pedophile on the internet because then it's slander if they haven't been convicted in the court of law. So, I was about to say unfortunately, but I don't know how unfortunate that is because, sometimes people are wrongly accused and, you want to try to avoid situations like that. You mean if they're not convicted, being charged is just being accused? Right. Yeah, I think that's what Riveter was trying to say, or maybe I was.
Okay, so let me clarify or expand if I need to here.
Sure.
So we have a person who is exposed on the internet, and there is leaked DMs or whatever that shows that type of behavior that could be described as a pedophilic behavior, right? However, they're never actually charged by any type of law enforcement. They're never given their day in court. They're never arraigned. They're never face a trial or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
Can we still label them as a pedophile?
Not publicly, no, because then it's slander. But like I said, on an interpersonal level, I would be keeping my distance and not interacting or working with that person at all. So, like publicly, you really can't say anything, right? Until there is some kind of crime that's been, like if they've been charged by a judge and a jury, or either or. Yeah. So it depends. You can't carte blanche say publicly and personally. They have to separate the two. So.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
So Joey West says, yeah, it makes sense. So Joey West says, yeah, I agree with Banana. So Joey agrees with your stance. Zero says, personally, I'm in the mindset that if they have been cleared of such charges, I would not call them that, but I too would keep my distance, especially if there was evidence to prove it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's like a case by case basis when it comes to personal.
I would ask Zero to clarify a little bit something. When you say they have been cleared of such charges, are you saying that they actually went before that you had a prosecutor that filed charges against them. They went before a judge. They had a trial, and in the trial, they were ruled innocent, and therefore there was no penalty under law of what they did. Or are you saying that there were just allegations? Okay, so that's what Zero was
Well,
saying.
I mean, that's a good point because you're kind of running into like the Lionhead situation or Lion Maker situation. You remember that Lion Maker
Sure,
interview with Colossal is crazy? I
sure,
watched that like a million times because I
sure.
was just so fascinated that somebody could just sit there and like, supposedly, I don't know this, but in my opinion, it seemed like he was lying over and over and over again. Um,
Well, he actually went to jail. He served time in jail for the
Well,
crime.
I mean, during the time, so there was quite a few years in between him going to jail and that video being or videos on Line Maker being around, right? So they had
Yeah,
to the way that people treated Line Maker online was destroy his career and everything, because there was enough evidence for them to say that this guy was a bad actor. Um, but calling him the p word,
yeah,
before an actual judge or jury convicted him, that still seems wrong. Even though you could have like, his hand is red, but like
yeah.
you still, I don't think you can publicly do that until you have a conviction, So
So here's my stance or take on this. Right,
okay,
if a person and has not been through the court systems, charges have been applied, they've had their day in court, and once they are if they're found guilty and sentenced and whatever punishment that the judge deems appropriate, whatever, then and then only then would I say, okay, yes, this person is a pedophile. When you have people like Technicals or John Swan or any of these other guys out there, Augie, I don't get whoever it is, I don't care. I will throw it out there. I will blanket anyone and everyone. When you have these people who go online and they look up definitions, and just like Technicals did repeatedly in his video, he goes out and he cites chapter and verse under the code of law for like the state of Washington, for the country of Canada, which is where Zaptai was born and raised and was in Canada. He goes
sure.
out and he quotes all these chapter and verses and stuff. Okay, all that shit doesn't matter a hill of beans, and you know why? Because
Why?
there was never any charges levied against them. Now, we could sit here and we can Monday morning armchair quarterback this stuff, and we could say, well, da 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 da, this, that, whatever. It doesn't matter. It 100% does not matter because law enforcement was never dragged into this. There was never any actual legal charges applied or filed against anybody. And so all we have is a bunch of people in here trying to equate, admonish, justify, whatever you want to call it. And what it boils down
And they're
to is,
public. It's public denouncement. That's what it is. It's saying, you publicly denounce this person, so shouldn't you also denounce this person? Otherwise, you're a hypocrite, and it's just you're playing,
okay.
playing favorites.
So here's the deal.
Yeah,
So Zero is a friend of Technicals. Technicals tries to give him a path back. He tries to give him a way to come back and to have his quote redemption arc, right? So that's
sure,
what he was trying to do. And so he painted him in a favorable light, as a friend would do, right?
sure,
So you have people like Nicholas DiOrio and Turkey Tom, and I don't know who all else, Tipster, Augie, uh, Tommy, all these guys who like
John Swan.
John Swan, who like Zaptai, and so they paint him in a positive light. And really what it all boils down to is this, is you have some friends on both sides of the same damn coin that is trying to give their friend a leg back up and a redemption arc to be able to come back on. Now, here's the thing. I don't care. I don't care if Zaptai comes back and becomes big again. I don't know who the hell Zero is. I don't know if he comes back. If he, I don't. I just didn't care. As long as they do not repeat and continue the bad behavior, right? And that's the problem.
Yeah.
As when you have people who have those type of tendencies, if they legitimately do have those type of tendencies, if they're never punished, if they're never incarcerated, if they're never forced to deal with their issues, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then are they really what all it is you got people out here just throwing words around, right? And that's the
He
problem.
said, she said.
I think I think the word is thrown around way too much. I think in the context and a lot of times of how it's thrown around, it has cheapened the word. It does not have the same stigmatism attached to it as it once did back, hell, even 7 to 10 years ago. Because
Well, I
like
mean,
it,
look at that's actually a good point you just made, because there are people like Hunter Avalon who are saying that it's actually necessary, and this is his words. I'm paraphrasing here. You
yeah,
can go watch his stream and find out what he actually believes. But what I gathered from it was he believes in destigmatizing that, so that people who are non-offending P's can go get help and not be afraid to seek help, so that they don't offend. And I don't know. What's your take on that? Because that is a popular, growing sentiment with the Twitter type
yeah.
people, and so
Here's well, that's a tough one because
that's a real. I put you on the spot pretty hard there. So
yeah, there is a there's two sides of that coin, right? There are people that, like you said, believe that they can be redeemed and that they should be able to exist in society without persecution as long as they are not reoffending, right?
no offending whatsoever. Yeah, as long as they don't
Yeah, as long
offend
as
to
they're
begin
not
with.
offending, as long as they're not engaged in any type of predatory type behavior towards minor people, right?
Yeah, I still think they
They're
should be on the list. I still
yeah,
think they should be
uh,
on the registry, in like, be, like, you shouldn't be anywhere near
yeah, yeah,
schools. I mean, sorry, dude. Like, if you're if
yeah,
you're that fucked in the head, you can't be trusted. I'm sorry. It's like
and yeah,
some mental illnesses probably shouldn't have guns, like schizophrenics.
and
Like,
and okay, and then there's other people though that believe that irrespective that there is no redemption for them, right? Um, that they cannot be saved. They cannot be
oh,
redeemed, right?
you go onto Facebook, you see all the posts for people who like say, like, oh, the only cure is a bullet and stuff like that, and it's like, maybe not. I
Okay.
don't think so.
Um, all I can tell you is that if you believe that that pedophilia is something that is based upon a person's sexual attraction, how do you stop yourself from being attracted? You're attracted to what you're attracted to, right? Now, I'm not sitting there saying that, oh, well, we have to give them a pass because that's their no, that's not what I'm saying.
Disclaimer: we are not
No,
psychiatrists.
no, we're not. No,
But
I'm saying
I
in my
I think
mind is
if you
this.
look at like developmental psychology, when those, like,
Yeah,
the how attraction is formed early
yeah,
on. I mean, is
yeah.
there any way to break that?
I don't know. I'm not. Again, I'm not a psychologist. All I'm saying is
We
this.
should have hired a psychologist to come on the show
Yes,
and
we
then
should.
put them
Yes,
on the spot so we didn't have to be so stressed out
sure.
about it.
I'm not
Damn it!
stressed. I'm not stressed out. What
No,
I'm saying.
I'm
Yeah, I
joking.
know. What I'm saying is this.
Chemical castration.
When
Joey Westside says chemical castration is the answer.
um, there are things about a woman, Banana, that attracts you to that particular type of women, right?
Oh,
Um,
that would be presumptuous of you, but no, yes, obviously, yeah, sure.
okay. Just
I was
like
just being silly.
yes, I know. Just like there's certain things that attracts me to a woman, right? There's certain physical attributes that initially catches my eye that makes me go, ooh, right?
Hmm. Right.
Okay. So that is something that is it's a chemical reaction in our brains that that fires off and stuff, right? So what I'm trying to say is that how would unless they've got some sort of medication that can stop those chemicals from firing in that person's brain.
Oh, like an inhibitory thing.
But this also goes to, they have to take the medication, right?
Oh yeah, and then look at the studies on how much people don't take their meds, and then you'll be like, ew.
There you go. So anyway, I think we've armchaired that enough, and so.
Oh sure.
But what I'll say is this: what I would caution our audience is do not just throw that word around and label people that. It's
we must not destigmatize the word. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, exactly. We should not.
You don't want to label everything, that incorrectly, right? So you definitely want accurate labels whenever you're dealing with something that is potentially dangerous to children, right? So
it's not even, here's the thing. It's not even necessarily about I guess quote stigmatism, whatever. I just think that I don't know. Anyway. So
it should have a certain amount of stigma behind it. It's like the most taboo thing that's ever existed.
It should make you cringe, right?
It should absolutely send a chill down your spine. That's the thing that like the people that tiptoe around this whole shit and they say destigmatize, blah blah blah. It's like maybe you don't normalize something that severe. There are like certain parts of mental illness that you should probably, like, obviously it shouldn't be stigmatized in the medical industry. So the people that are professionals, they should be able to understand it in a way that is helpful to the person they're treating. But people in the common, like population who don't need to know anything about that, they should be rightfully and appropriately afraid of offenders like that.
Oh,
I mean, so
okay.
But but hold on, because I'm going to hear this. I hear it in the back of my head. Here's some annoying liberal going, but if everyone's scared of it, how will people ever seek help? And it's like, by doing the right thing. I don't know. You see, we're going to have to get into like this moral argument of like, well, they're just going to offend anyway, and then should they all just be locked up? That's like the whole antisocial personality disorder argument is like, well, there's not a cure. So what do you do with the people that are like that? It's like, well, you either label them in society and stay away, or you lock them up and throw away the key. I don't know. That's a really hard question to answer. I'm not going to answer it here. So
there were there were four people, right, that Technicals covered in his video. There was Tommy C, Tipster, Augie, Nicholas DiOrio, and John Swan. I'm sorry, there was 5. So you and I discussed it, and we kind of come up with what we thought were who got hit the hardest, or who had had the most impact on it, right?
I always try to derail us by going off tangents. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Okay. Who got hit the hardest in this commentary expose?
Exactly, right. And then who kind of got a bloody nose, who got a full blown, who got a punch to the chest, and whose balls were kicked clear up into the throat, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So when we sat down, we kind of talked about this, whatever. We kind of came, in our opinion, the conclusion, and by no means does that mean that it has to be everybody's, but we felt like probably the one who was hit the hardest on this would have to be Augie. Would you? That's kind of what we agreed on, wasn't it?
It'd have to be either Augie or John Swan, one of the two.
Yeah, probably either one of them, whatever. And I here's what I'm gonna just say. I think personally, that the ones who were fighting about this the most, which were Technicals and Augie, and Nick and John.
Tipster.
And Tipster.
Honestly, so before you continue real quick, I'll just go ahead and give you a list, a ranking. So I think if you really had to press me, I would say John Swan, Augie, Tipster, DiOrio, Tommy C.
Okay.
In terms of who got hit the hardest, the least, because I mean, Tommy went on his stream yesterday, and to be honest, he's been pretty consistent about it. So the only disagreement I have with him, and hopefully this isn't seen as some kind of slight. It's not, but I think the only disagreement I have with him is I think during the Edwin thing, he may have been projecting his own past a little bit onto Edwin because he had a similar situation with being misdiagnosed by a doctor. Yeah. If you're a fan of Shot from the Point, I think he was a little too close to it, if that makes sense. Because if somebody comes out and says that they are antisocial personality, I mean, you have no reason to believe they're lying to you, especially when they're, you know, I mean, has he ever gone back on that statement, by the way?
Doctor, I'm aware of, but I guess okay.
But do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah. I don't disagree.
I'm not even like talking shit. I'm just saying,
No.
in my opinion, it might have been a little too close to it.
Too close to home. Yeah.
Yeah, too close to home.
Yeah, exactly. All I'm going to say is the big ducks in the puddle on this one. Like I said, was Technicals and Tipster and Augie, and Nicholas and John. Those guys were all so it got to where they were more concerned with being perceived as quote taking the L versus actually listening to what each side was saying. They were arguing for the sake of arguing. If you follow Twitter, if you follow that's all. There was just arguments for the sake of argument. And
yeah, but the Steelman, them, because I kind of have to here. I mean, okay, I would say the way they would come back at you is saying, no, actually, it wasn't arguing for the sake of arguing. Part of the debate may have been interesting for them, but really what they were trying to do was get the nitty gritty of the ironically technicals sorted out between how you approach letting somebody back into the community after an accusation like this. So like laying out a road to redemption and when it's appropriate and when it's not. So like ironing out the specifics of how you act in those situations is what they were doing. I feel like that's how they would come back at you.
Well, so Nick and those guys' argument was because Zaptai owned up to it, apologized for it. He was quote unquote catfished.
Yeah, but he was but she was 16. I mean, like, sure, age of consent in Canada.
Hang on.
Okay.
And he was catfished, and so therefore that's his out, right?
Right.
The fact that he showed remorse, that there was some catfishing involved, that's his out. Now, on the other side of the coin, and the Zero situation, from my understanding, and again, I don't know as much about it as I do the one with Zaptai, just because I've seen it covered more. He knew the age, and he never apologized.
Right. Or showed remorse, according to the commentators, like Tommy C and Augie. And...
Okay, so here's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think, God, it's just such bullshit. It really is.
What do you think, though? Don't lose that thought.
Okay, so to me, it was almost
you almost gave up right on the show. You're just like, oh fuck it, let's call it quits.
To me, it was almost like Technicals was trying to take a sow's ear and make it into a silk purse.
Sow's ear.
Yes. You never heard that expression?
I've never heard that expression.
He was basically trying to take a piece of shit and shine it up and try to make you look like it's okay, right? It's a diamond, sure. Right?
It's
as they say, try to make it shine like a diamond in a goat's ass, right?
Right.
All right, and so, which if I'm gonna preference this before I make this statement, if Zero actually truly knew the age, and if Zero never actually showed any type of remorse, then that's problematic. Now, did Zaptai show remorse? Yes. Did Zaptai get catfished? Yes. Did Zaptai ultimately learn the age of the girl? Yes. It's my understanding that after he even learned the age of knew the age of the girl, though, he still continued the conversations that were inappropriate. Problem. Okay. Now, this first segment, I'm trying to get us to the.
I know. Jesus Christ, I'm terrible, aren't I?
This first segment, This is the argument that was put forth not only by Augie, but this was also kind of more or less the arguments that was put forth by the whole commentary crew. And here let's listen to this video and listen to what was said.
Defense. Before we go over the specifics, we need to know exactly who we're dealing with here. One of the major proponents of Zaptai's comeback is a creator known as Augustus. Augustus often covers
relationship. It's totally fucking fine in a high school relationship.
He would later coin this the high school context theory.
Hang on, hang on a second, guys. Let me get this back because it's. I thought I had it queued up to where I wanted. Yeah, but
his defense. Before we go over the specifics, we need to know his defense. Before we go.
See, here's the problem. When people make these, it's just trying to fast forward and get right where I want it. I don't know how these guys do it.
In high school, an 18-year-old dating a 15-year-old is fine.
In the context.
Okay, so the context here is that an 18-year-old dating a 15-year-old is fine, and he's
senior dating a freshman.
Yes, and he's calling this the high school context.
Of a high school relationship, yes, 18 to 15 is fine. And in this specific context, a 3-year age gap is totally fucking fine in a high school relationship.
He would later coin this the high school context theory. I, being a scholar myself, thought this was weird as fuck.
A senior dating a freshman is something that, on its own face value, I don't necessarily have an issue with.
I think that's weird as fuck.
That's creepy.
Okay.
Okay, so let's break that one down. An 18-year-old senior dating a 15-year-old freshman, in Augie's opinion, that's okay.
Well, I mean, when I was in high school, the guys that did that were always seen as like fucking lame. Like, really? Get with a girl in your own grade, dude. It was just like not creepy, but kind of creepy. You know what I mean? Like, you would never call them like a P, you know, but like you'd also be like, what the fuck are you doing?
We had a saying when I was in high school back, which was again right after Noah landed the ark, but still I digress. 15 will get you 20.
Yeah.
So here's the thing.
It's just weird. It's just fucking weird. It's like, why are you?
So let me clarify something. Okay.
Yeah.
And here's a nuance that these guys are not covering. So let's say, like in the state that I live in, the age of consent is 16.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. Okay. So the age of consent is 16.
Mm-hmm.
So if a 16-year-old girl in high school who is a freshman, has got her driver's license, okay, she's...
Wouldn't she be a sophomore at 16? 15 is freshman, right? Depends on you could have a late birthday, but...
Not necessarily. They could be 16. Okay, but anyway.
Sure.
For argument's sake, freshman, sophomore, whatever.
Whatever.
Okay. And she's working at her local fast food restaurant, and one of the guys that's working at the restaurant as well, he's 18. And the chemistry is there, and boyfriend and girlfriend, yada yada yada, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Now here's the thing that people were not covering. This is something that is not talked about anymore. It's kind of lost in all this, maybe, or maybe they just don't know about this. The age of consent does not cover you for pedophilia. The age of consent covers you for what is called statutory rape. That's it.
Oh, seriously?
Seriously. So what that means is this, is if this 18-year-old senior is dating this 16-year-old, whatever, freshman or sophomore in high school, they're both in high schools, the parents cannot charge him with statutory rape.
Okay.
Because the age of consent is 16. However, here's the problem.
Don't let Trisha Paytas hear you. Holy shit.
I understand now.
Screaming about 20-year-olds.
I understand.
Yeah.
But under the law, right, that person is still a minor. Okay? And what that means is if they engage in activities that are lascivious in nature, right? Which means talking sexually graphically in text message or whatever, or they're sending nude pictures back and forth, right? Then that's where the quote pedophilia stuff can come into, right? Because more times than not, right, these are relationships that cross state lines. In some cases, they cross countries as far as borders.
Oh, you're talking
right?
about online.
And
talking about online.
And so when it gets to that level, that's federal.
Sure.
Okay. And if you're over 18 and you're talking to someone who's under 18, that's your ass. And you can be charged with pedophilia. And if it's not just a matter, okay? It's not just, the age of consent's gonna, no. There's more, there's a lot of nuances. And here's the thing. For technicals or any of these other guys who want to play armchair lawyers and they want to go out here and they want to read statutes and they want to do this, that, whatever. I'm going to tell you right from the get-go, I am not an attorney. I have never attended one day of law school in my life. I just know that when you talk about the age of consent, it's talking about the age at which parents cannot come after a person for statutory. It does not mean that they're still not underage, and it does not mean that the whole, quote, predatory side of things cannot come into play. That's all I'm going to say on that. So when they start, here's the thing, when Augie makes his statement that within that context he's okay with that, okay, we have to take and keep in consideration of something here, right? And I don't mean this as a slight, and I don't mean this as necessarily a put down of Augie, but Augie is like a 20-year-old young man, okay? He just doesn't know. He's looking at it through the eyes of a 20-year-old. He doesn't see a problem with an 18-year-old but dating a 16-year-old. In this case, a 2-year gap in age difference.
Wait till he gets to like towards 30 and they'll be like, ugh. Yeah, because there's a pretty stark difference between 18 and 15. In terms of cognitive ability.
That's another reason why I really wish that these young people would not get into and start having these conversations about these really heavy topics.
Well, it's also just cancer. I mean, to be honest, to be frank, because it's just annoying. Because then you have people like virtue signaling over this shit, and then half the time they're like, misquoting some like county law or something, and then they're like, well, actually, in this instance, and it's like, dude, just use your common sense. It's like, enough.
It's wrong.
It's wrong. It's just gross and creepy and wrong. It's like, you don't have to sit there and make a fucking like you have to have like a debate club, fucking meeting about it. It's just call a spade, dude. Yeah. It's like not in terms of like labeling people pedophiles on the internet, but like, fucking whenever something's creepy, just call it creepy, dude.
Yeah.
You don't have to sit there and like die on that hill. I don't understand that. Yeah, because he really got nailed on that one. So.
Yeah. And so that's just, and that was a bad take. But here's again, I understand Augie's a young man. He's still living. He's still forming he's going to gain wisdom if he lives long enough. That's the thing. When I was his age, I probably had some pretty stupid takes too. Matter of fact, I'll say I had stupid takes. I had stupid ideas. I had stupid beliefs.
My entire life has been nothing but stupid takes and embarrassing moments. So I'm like the collection of those over time, and then now I'm finally like, okay, I'm like, a little bit less stupid.
We learn from we should learn from our mistakes and
try to
learn from them.
I keep finding myself in situations where I'm just fucking shooting myself in the foot left and right. I mean, you think I'd have no toes by now, I wouldn't be able to walk, but here I am. So
well, here's the thing. The biggest thing is for humans, for us to learn, is it has to be painful enough, right? It has to be painful enough that it gets our attention, gets us to wake up.
You always see that one guy that has no shame after an event. You're like, you guys should be like, because Joey, you'll get this. You should be ashamed of yourself. And then you're like, well, I don't get it. It's like, you should be embarrassed right now. And they just over their head.
Yeah.
Joey's gonna laugh at that one if he still remembers. So. But That's an inside joke. But
Okay. So in our opinion, you know, you said you thought John Swan probably got hit worse. I actually think Augie probably got it punched worse. And here's the thing, right? And this is the one thing that I guess
Right.
that you know, making the videos that I've made over the years from on my YouTube channel and the videos with me on this podcast stuff, I'm always so concerned that I'm going to have such a horrible take and make such a mistake because I'm going to miss something. There's going to be some little tidbit of information out there, some little,
Oh,
you know, and here's the thing about it. I can tell you right now, it exists. If I ever get enough of a presence online, which I'm not asking for, I'm not begging for, but if it happens,
well,
there's going to be some people that can come after me and literally flay me open like a fish and just
well,
gut me. And
it's like Tommy said the other day to
Yeah.
you when you're in the call on the show. He's like, you know, due to the fact that we're doing a live show every week, there's
Sure.
going to be updates on the stories that we're
Sure.
talking about. Not only that, we're gonna miss some stuff.
Sure.
And so I mean, it's really easy to cherry pick and go like, oh, you're not, you know, your narrative's imperfect. But then again, we aren't a commentary channel as well.
Yeah.
That's another thing. We're like we do a podcast that like gives our opinions on like world events and then sometimes shitty, you know, YouTube drama like this right here. But
Yeah.
we're not doing like exposés in journalism. I don't
No.
think at least.
No. And you know, sometimes we signal boost a story because we think that there's an injustice going on and we think it needs to be brought to light. And you know,
Sure.
like our video last week where we were covering the Rikita Law and what was going on there.
Yeah.
And by the way, we have no updates on that. I've been watching it, but there's really not been any updates on that.
And we got 4 new subscribers.
Yeah.
After that, so shout out to the 4 new subs. Hell yeah.
100%. You know, but anyway, so
we got to get to Tipster because
yeah, we're running out of time here because
yeah, we are
Tipster by far had the best.
the biggest molding
of these.
session.
Okay, so you know, Technicals makes this video. Tommy does a little live stream, covers the segment, and I think Tommy did a fairly good job of debunking what it was that Technicals was calling him out on. And I still, you know, and I went in there and I did have a conversation with Tommy about it and stuff, but I think some of the things is, and I think, you know, we're probably could be lumped in with this at times as well too, is because of the type of shows that we do or whatever, all of them, whatever, when someone does a video or goes out and does an actual, doing a quote, an exposed video, whatever, or a little mini documentary, whatever you want to call it, you know, bringing light to something, whatever.
Sure.
We go out, we watch it. Oh, okay. Well, we'll cover this. We'll signal boost it. We'll do whatever. You know, we'll give our opinions, our takes on it, whatever. The problem is we don't ever really fact check and double check what's being covered in the video. We just are giving our comments or giving our opinions on the video. So
we try.
Okay, but we're mainly focused on giving our views and opinions on the evidence that's presented in the video, and we're trusting. Right. We're trusting that the person that's doing the video has dotted their I's and crossed their T's. That's the premise, right?
Gotcha. Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. And sometimes I think we open ourselves up to criticism in that matter, and that's just what we do, right? So here's what I'm gonna say. So when John Swan weighed in on this and stuff, John Swan, in my opinion, is a young man that has too many damn skeletons in his closet. And while he's a very, very talented video editor, his video editing
talented journalist too, by the way.
Yeah, he is. The problem is
fucking ego.
His ego has sank him, has utterly destroyed him.
Well, it's just like the moral grandstanding. He's like the whole like even Zero goofs on him on Twitter. I'm on the right side of history. I know. He's just like like he's on a podium. You can see him on the podium, moving his hands about and yelling to the crowd. It's it's so lofty language.
It's kind of funny you bring that up, right? Because when Technical's video stuff came out, whatever, John's We're just not going to have time to go through all the different segments. I'm going to link the technicals video in case you have it, because you whatever just have not seen this, whatever. It's going to be, you can go in and watch it, the full whatever. John responded with, go ahead. You like it, so go ahead and read the tweet there.
Whatever people may think of me, I know I'm on the right side of history here. If you want to unfollow, unsub, or whatever, I don't really give a shit. I'm standing up for integrity, and I will represent real victims like Katie with the respect they deserve. It's like he's running for office, dude. But like he has this insistency of having his image be sacrosanct. Yeah. And I don't understand why. It's because like it's these type of people that I generally distrust whenever they try to appear as if they're perfect.
Yeah.
And it's like, you're not. Yeah. So what's with the insistence that you have this sacrosanct image?
Yeah.
That's my issue with John Swan anyways.
Yeah.
And actually, if you go back and look at some of the exposés on John Swan himself by like people like Willie Mack and so on and so forth, you'll see that he's been up to some shit too in the past. So
Technicals quote tweets John's whatever people may think of me tweet that he made, and made a little video. And I'm sorry, the shit was funny. I found it. So anyway, here, listen to what he says.
I am on the right side of history. I stand for integrity. And I will always stand for real victims. Except for those bitches in the Onision case. Show me where he violated TOS. Show me. I am on the right.
Pretty good.
Yeah, so, I mean, Technicals is a funny guy. I mean, I'm not going to.
Oh, he's definitely funny. He's like, I mean, he's good enough to like emulate iDubbbz, I think. I mean, he's doing a good job. So it's just, my criticism of him is he's no more biased than the people he's criticizing. So, honestly, well, maybe not, because it depends. Does he think Zaptai is not worthy of a comeback? I think I've heard him. I can't give this an exactitude like on saying this, but I think I've heard him say that he's across the board with the whole Road to Redemption thing. He's just pointing out the hypocrisy with these guys.
Yeah,
but I'm not sure.
He doesn't think. I have not seen him say that neither Zero nor Zap should not have an opportunity to come back. He just said they're sitting there throwing sticks and stones at Zero, and they're failing to see the similarities between Zero and Zap. He said if Zap is being, if Zap is okay to come back, why isn't Zero? And so it's
it's just stupid drama because like you know why it's because he's not remorseful. But then I think he's even going on to say that some of the accusations are actually slander because he's proven that they're wrong. So I don't know. I have to look way more into that. It's like a whole fucking...
I do remember there was some stuff talked about where they actually was wanting to go after the girl to try to prove that she was catfish. She was a catfish or was no whatever. And so he wasn't guilty of doing what he actually was alleged to be.
And dude, to his point, like until I see a fucking judge give a sentence or a jury give a sentence on him, I'm not going to say he's a convicted p-word. So sure.
Here's an idea too though, right?
I'm still pissed at Zero giving us Zero as a bad name. Well, we know you're a good Zero core. Exactly. We won't associate you with the other guy.
Here's a noble idea. How about you actually go to like a local, depending on your age, maybe go to a local pub or bar to find somebody, or go to church.
Shocker! It's because they're incels, dude. All they do is sit on their fucking computer, play video games, and then make videos. It's like you don't go outside into the world and socialize.
Yeah, go out.
Which is weird because some of these guys, like Augie and Nicholas Diorio, they're able to debate with the best of them.
Sure.
But, I mean, maybe they do have social lives. I don't want to fucking sit there and trash both of those guys. But, I mean, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, because they aren't representative of what we're talking about. So that's not a good...
Okay, so here's the deal. I know Nicholas gets out stuff because he actually put out a tweet or something where he was out with a young lady. I guess it's maybe someone I don't know if it's a friend or someone who was dating or whatever. Well, they were out having drinks and people lost their damn minds and went after his ass. I remember that whole big thing too. So bottom line is
that was a bad example on my part.
Some guys should just maybe go out and meet people IRL.
Or like, what's his name? Call Me Carson. Like Call Me Carson should just, fucking go out and like, meet people as opposed to trolling Discord DMs, Pyro.
So Nicholas' take on this was, this guy sucks at insulting me. His videos are so shit. Surely I wouldn't watch them a second time. And, Nick's laughing and whatever he goes. Technical, he has a screen cap here between the technicals put out, said, you guys wanted me to speak my mind instead of being nice to avoid useless issues, so here it is. Nick makes long, uninteresting vids I wouldn't watch twice, and most of you are live streamers that can't be fucked to be consistent because you don't even remember half of your coverage.
That's the exact annoying part of this, by the way.
Yeah.
It's the going on to Twitter, trying to control the narrative before it gets out of hand, and then going, oh, I slam dunked him. His video sucked, right, guys? And it's like, stop. Because the video is good. I mean, it may have been willfully misrepresented at times by some people, like Tommy claims that it was, but like, it just seems so unnecessary and kind of annoying. They have to do it. Obviously, it's like part of their meta game where they have to go onto Twitter and try to get ahead of the narrative and be like, oh, I'm gonna slam dunk you, like in all this. It just seems so stupid. But that's from somebody who's been banned permanently off Twitter, so for being an idiot. So
our last
grain of salt.
Our last little tidbit that we're going to cover here is Tipster. Now, before we get into this, I want Tipster, if he sees this, I want Tipster, dude, no ill will. Okay, I'm just laughing at your your
no, we love Tipster.
We love Tipster. I watch his content. Shit.
God
God
spurgs
Almighty,
a little too often.
He does. He spurgs the hell out, and it's just,
and he's funny.
Yes, it's
like,
funny.
Like the New Year's Eve tweets that he was doing.
God.
Like, he was talking shit to like
everybody.
Matt
He was
Pitt.
he was talking shit to everybody.
It was hilarious.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah.
I love drunk Tipster, and I don't know if there's people around him that are threatening to take his phone away from him when he does that. But I hope
they
don't.
should. They should.
No,
very
they
much put
should.
his phone in a
Let
box.
Tipster have Tipster. The internet needs drunk Tipster. He's a hoot.
Not
anyway,
insecure Tipster.
So some of you may or may not know, Tipster kind of has this rep where he has this quote unquote harem of e-girls, right?
He's a harem of, for fuck's sake.
But he does it, guys. It's just a running meme.
No, he definitely does. Come on now.
He does. No, he does.
He has a lair with a bunch of
it's just a running joke or whatever. Tipster is a happily married man.
Sure.
But here's the problem, okay? Tipster runs with this joke or whatever, but here's the thing, right? If people takes that joke and makes a joke of your joke, you can't spurg out, dude. I'm serious. You can't. This was the worst possible thing. I'm sorry, dude.
Here's the perfect representation of what Tipster does. You ever seen that episode of The Office where Michael falls in the koi pond?
No.
Well, he falls into a koi pond, and then Jim says, instead of being hurt by it, he's like, what you do is you go out and you make fun of yourself.
Yeah.
And then everyone kind of like, oh, it's no big deal, and but then he goes out and makes fun of himself, and everyone's giving him like, oh, it happens to all of us, and they're like, it's not a big deal, Michael. And then he goes too far, and he's like, too real. And he's like, oh, and he starts crying, or like he gets upset.
Yeah.
And then he completely undoes it. Yeah.
So anyway, here's so this not lyrics says, LOL, Tipster would never cheat on his wife, dude. What the fuck, technicals? And what it is it's a clip of Tipster's stream when Tipster was reacting to the technicals video, right? And then Tipster quote tweets that and says, so we have a quote tweet. Anyway, says, yes, I would never DM e-girls and cheat on my wife. Every private DM I've sent to a woman, even if it's sexual or flirtatious, has been completely within my marital boundaries, or my wife just hasn't seen it. I love her, bro. I would never. Or I could never. Fake news. Can't stop the tip. So here's the clip.
Whether this was intentional or not, this gives people the impression that I just go around like flirting with girls on the internet and cheating on my wife, and nothing could be further from the truth. Like, I love my wife, okay? I would never cheat on my wife. Whether this was
now, before somebody say, "Oh, but Riv, he's
thou doth protest too much."
Yeah, well, he's goofing. He's you're buying into it. Okay, well, fine. Then here's Twipster. This was he put this out the day after he did the reaction to the on his stream to the technicals video. He says, regarding my response to the technicals video, and he has a twit longer. Well, here's that twit longer. Oh God, hang on. Let me get to the right screen because you guys can't see all of it. Okay.
The blog posting.
The blog post. Here we go. Regarding my responses to the technicals video, some people think I made too big of a deal of the fact that my wife and a friend were briefly mentioned in the technicals video. And if that's your opinion, that's fair and you're welcome to have it. But for me personally, I didn't like it, especially since these people aren't public figures, nor are they involved in this situation. My approach to responding to the technicals video was given my genuine and honest off-the-cuff opinions, and I am someone who has always worn my heart on my sleeve. So when I saw that in his video, I wasn't going to shy away from sharing my thoughts on it, and my thoughts were simply that I didn't like that. If you disagree with me and think that I'm making a big deal out of nothing, that's fine. Everyone is free to have an opinion. And this was just me sharing mine, nothing more. Anyway, I just wanted to elaborate on that. While this segment was short, I did concede to a couple of valid points he made about me regarding my mental health and Twitter and taking obvious bait regarding his Discord post. But overall, I was just sharing my genuine opinions about his video and what he had to say about me in it. No hard feelings to anyone who disagrees with my takes. And have a nice day. Okay.
I have to stop you right there real quick. Zero Core just said he ate an entire jar of kosher pickles and drank all the juice. That is disgusting. All right, look, I will risk. I will risk losing a fan over this. That is absolutely vile, and you should be ashamed of yourself. You ate a whole jar of pickles and drank the juice.
No, Zero. I'm with you, bro. I love dill pickle, and I'm gonna tell you something. Dill pickle juice is great for you, especially after a workout, to keep you from cramping, and it does better to restore your electrolytes and shit than like Gatorade and stuff, dude.
I don't know. I'm not gonna drink. It's fucking nasty. I hate pickles. I hate pickle juice too. Well,
that's because you're a pussy. You're a pussy.
Yeah, I like fried pickles. I just don't like cold pickles. They're disgusting.
Oh, I love dill pickles, man. I don't like sweet pickles or bread and butter pickles, but I love dill pickles. But anyway, Augie says, Tipster, we make the same joke Technicals made in his video, except we do them literally every stream. Stop needlessly moralizing and just focus on the main points. He didn't even mention anything about your wife or Hannah. It was light jabbing on you. I'm not moralizing anything, bro. I shared my opinions about comments that were made towards me. I feel like if I were moralizing, this would be,
for fuck's sake,
dictating whether or not people would make those kinds of comments. I'm not, though.
I mean, who gets done, doing like a mile of running and then thinks, I'm gonna drink a whole fucking thing of pickle juice? Like that would make me puke. I'm not over the pickle thing. Go ahead.
Smart people would drink pickle juice.
Okay. Well, you go ahead and pander. Zero Core, I like you as a viewer. You won't lose a viewer over that. Oh, there you go. See?
Dude, I'm serious. Like,
I'm talking shit.
I know you're talking shit, and I'm just telling you that I battle leg cramps, and
do you get Charlie horses in the middle of the night?
Yes, and so I will get up and go into the refrigerator and get a jar of dill pickles and pour a little juice out into a glass and drink it.
I don't think that's the answer. I don't know.
It's 100% an answer. Dude, I had a professional trainer tell me years and years and years ago when I thought
bananas were for cramps.
Okay, here's the thing. You cannot you cannot consume enough. There's not enough potassium in bananas to stop what you're wanting it to happen. It's just not enough.
So what? Bananas are pointless? Don't eat bananas?
I didn't say that.
Oh, okay. Don't let me straw man you. Sorry.
No, I didn't say that. What I'm saying is
banana straw man. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, banana grabber, pervert.
I love bananas, dude.
I know you love grabbing them.
Exactly.
No, there's just the chemical makeup of pickle juice. Dill pickle juice is It's just advantageous to help you with muscle cramps in your legs and stuff after work.
Oh yeah, like the salt and all that. I don't know. I'll stick with like my liquid IV shit. It's
Okay.
tastes better.
It tastes better, but you're basically doing the same thing. You're just paying a lot of money for it.
It's not that much money. It's like $8 for 15 little sticks of it. So
Yeah. Okay.
not too expensive.
How much?
You can
is
get it
it?
at Walmart.
But you can get pickle juice for how much?
I don't know. Fuck.
Yeah.
I don't buy pickles. I would never know. I hate
Exactly.
pickles.
There you go. Anyway.
They're vile. I don't understand people who eat them, even though I respect them, and I know they're choosing something in life that, you know what, you shouldn't hate people who eat pickles, right?
Exactly.
Just because they choose, like some people choose, some people choose to work at the DMV, some people choose to be auditors at the IRS. Others choose to eat pickles.
Yeah. Well, right. Anyway, that's going to wrap it up. Remember, guys, pin tweet in the chat there.
TLDR. Some people took some L's in this, and the commentary community is way too friendly with one another. They should just stop and start fighting each other again. You just want to see all out blood warfare between everyone.
I don't want to see all out.
I don't want to see any friendships. I don't.
Jeez, I don't want that.
I don't think it's appropriate. I think everyone should be at each other's throats all the time. It should be utter chaos. That's the only way we'll survive this year.
What I think is I think they need to find some other things to make videos on, other than whether or not if somebody is having some sort of inappropriate conversations or comments or whatever with minors. Tell them.
The Tommy C philosophy is the way to go.
Tell
Send
them
it to the police.
Send it to the police. Quit making videos on this shit. Make videos on, I don't give a shit what. There's things out there that
the price of tea in China.
There's lots of things out there that can be made videos on. There's some really funny ass shit that's going on over in Twitch right now. Make videos on those guys.
Make fun of Destiny and Vosh.
Or Hassan, or hell, any given day, Ethan gives enough damn shit to make videos on.
You can run an H3H3 parody channel. Yeah.
Hell, go and just talk about how we have the Biden appointee for what the hell was his position?
Nobody's talking about World War III either. They're like, oh yeah, Russia has amassed an army on the Ukrainian border, but whatever. YouTube drama. We might be all going to Europe very soon. Every one of us, except for you, because you're old as fuck.
I don't want to work. Or we have people within our current presidential administration calling for censoring of a guy on a podcast.
Oh yeah, like Neil Young, you should take my music off Spotify. And then the fucking tweet from Vanity Fair was like, Spotify loses $9 billion in estimated earnings. Like, no, they did not. Nobody listens to Neil Young except for old hippies who went to Woodstock. Come on.
And let me just tell you what, okay?
Billions of dollars.
They don't know how to operate. They don't know how to operate Spotify. Okay. Hey, how you doing, Doc?
Hey, Doc. I disagree, Joey. I hate Neil Young. It's so boring.
Okay, no, Joey. It's horrible. Neil Young music is absolute
terrible
ass. And if there's anybody present that can have this opinion, it's me. Okay, because I grew up with this shit, and it's ass. Okay,
isn't he like a Bob Dylan wannabe? Isn't he like?
Okay. So anybody that comes, anybody who comes under the folk, what they call the folk umbrella, which is people like Neil Young, and Bob Dylan, and
Yoko Ono.
No, not Yoko Ono. She's just destroyer of bands.
Destroyer of worlds.
Oh God, what is her name? There's a woman, and she called for her.
Oh,
shit
Cat Power. Inya.
No.
I love Inya. Inya's awesome.
She's slipping my mind, but anyway, she was another one of the what they call the folk movement in the 60s and 70s.
Oh, you talking about what's her name?
I can't
The
remember.
one that wears the shawl, Stevie Nicks.
No, it wasn't Stevie Nicks. It doesn't matter.
She's more country anyway. She's
but,
kind of a hippie too.
Um,
Now it's gonna bother me for like the rest of the day.
it doesn't matter. Anyway,
Sure.
that whole genre, they all sound alike. They just had, because it's all folk, it has that folky type rhythms and beats and stuff. So,
Yeah.
old man. Okay, so he had one song. You named one song, Joey. One damn song.
Well, it's like the only people that listen to that kind of stuff are hipsters who actually don't like it. They're just listening to it ironically, or old
to be pretentious. To be pretentious.
Yeah, to be pretentious, or
Yeah.
boomers, old boomers. Like they're like from Woodstock. Inge isn't a band. Inge is a single singer. He's about 60 years old. Yeah, Inge is awesome. I love Inge. I also love ABBA.
But anyway, there's just a ton of stuff out there. I mean, that videos and stuff could be made. That's what I would say is I wish they would stop.
Heart of Gold. That song is so annoying. All right, you're trolling. Joey's trolling. There's no way you enjoy Heart of Gold. There's absolutely. That's such a terrible song. I can hear it in my head right now. I want to like stab myself in the ear. Stop. No. We're cutting that off right now. Hey, mama. Okay.
Oh, shit.
All right, I've had enough.
You've had enough? Okay. So let's wrap this up. Listen, appreciate all of you guys. Love you guys. Remember to share out there's a pin, like I was just saying, there's a pinned comment in the chat up there for GoFundMe for Diva.
Oh, yeah. That's important. Please go do that.
If you have not, please share that. If you can't donate, I understand.
Share it to somebody who can donate.
But just share it. Get that out on every social media. Hell, tell you what, if you shared it, reshare that bitch again. Okay. And again, thank you for everybody that has donated. Thank you for everybody that has shared it. I, from the bottom of my heart, am just touched by the overwhelming support that has received. I know Diva has been touched, and she said that it's just being so such a blessing to her, the outpouring of support and love that she's received.
Yeah, Diva, that's how many people really appreciate you. And so don't ever feel like you're alone, because a lot of people, you've had an impact in this space, and it's not for nothing. That should show you right there.
Exactly.
How much people care.
But yeah, please do share. If you can't donate, please just share. And anyway, look forward to next week's stream. We've got a couple of things that we're working on. We're just doing a lot of digging. This is a really big mountain of data that we're digging into, and it just takes we're taking our time with this one, because one of the things that has really been driven home to me here in the last couple of weeks or whatever is I want to make sure that Banana and I are dotting our I's and crossing our T's. We're going to get shit wrong. I don't have any delusions of grandeur, but I want to try to minimize what we get wrong.
Sure.
Try to keep it at
that's the goal.
That is the goal. So anyway, listen, you guys, thank you for coming out and hanging out with us today. Hopefully you liked our video. If you did, like, subscribe, share, all the stuff. Make sure to follow us on Twitter. All the links and stuff are down below, how to get a hold of us. You can't follow Banana because he's been a bad boy. He's been grounded. He can't have
working on it.
He can't have a Twitter. He's been a bad boy. So anyway, but you can still get to make sure to join the Discord. Hey guys.
Yeah, I'll talk to you in the Discord if you want to talk to me, if you have questions.
And by the way, guys, when we're having a stream like this, if there's something that you guys that you feel that you want, jump in the waiting room and we will pull you in and have a conversation with you. Don't be afraid. Banana is not as scary as he looks.
No, I'm pretty calm.
He's pretty tame. But don't forget to join our Discord. If you haven't done that, please do so there. And until next Sunday, remember guys, keep your powder dry, and we'll see you in the funny papers.
Peace.